I don't know to what extent you will you'll be convinced of what I'm going to share with you now as to what constitutes Nirvana. What constitutes Nirvana? This is so important. So, the more you understand what Nirvana is, what Buddhahood is, then it becomes very clear in your mind as to what is the path. Path meaning what takes you closer towards your goal. When the goal becomes very clear, then you will know what is the genuine path and what is not so helpful path. What is the waste of time following one path? What is the productive way of spending time for a genuine path, and so forth. So this understanding of Nirvana is extremely important. It's extremely important. If you don't understand anything at this moment, still be at the present moment. Try to just grab what I'm saying at that particular moment. And then, after the class, should you have, say, you may get something here while you are here. The moment you get out of this room, it may disappear. Don't worry. As long as you get something there, many times what people tend to do is that when someone is talking, conveying some important information, then you tend to what? You tend to formulate, you tend to ruminate over what was said earlier, you tend to anticipate for what is going to be said, and then you try to create questions. In the process, you miss lots and lots of important information. So therefore, I would very much encourage you to be just in the present moment and see how much you can grab what is being said at that moment. This is so important. Okay, Nirvana. When we recite this mantra, Tiyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. So this is pointing to the 5 paths. Pointing to the 5 paths. Paths meaning, paths make sense only if there is a goal. Only if there is a goal, then what takes you closer to this goal, that becomes path. Whereas if you are setting something on the path, right? You are setting some, you have a small shop on the path, but it is not a path, this is your destination, right? That becomes path only if that is used as a spot which takes you closer towards what you intend to achieve. Only then the path makes sense. So for that, we need to have a clear identification of what the goal is that you are seeking. So that goal, and even though you may think that, oh, this Nirvana, Buddhahood, this is far away, it doesn't matter. To create blueprint, it is not that you should be so close. So some people, if you go to Dehradun, if you go to Kasoli, these places, from there you could see, and Almora, you can see Himalaya. It doesn't mean that you should be there, right? When you talk about Himalaya, you should be there. You can see Himalaya from distance. So like that, we can create the blueprint, although you may not be too close towards the Nirvana as yet. But then we can create a blueprint if you see the Nirvana from distance. So what we are doing now here is trying to see Nirvana from distance. Once you see that, once you see the Nirvana from distance, then you gain a conviction. Okay, Himalaya is there 100%. So many people climb this. So me also, if I put effort, I can also reach there because it is there. I could see it from distance. Likewise, Nirvana is something which we have to understand. Only then we can create the path. Okay. So Nirvana is described. One, I'll try to make it simple, as well as I will dare to include the technicalities as well. Because always trying to make things so simple, Then at times when you read books, when you listen to His Holiness's teachings, then the technical things are being thrown to you, then you get lost. It does not help. So that way, I will not hesitate to bring in the technicalities as well, but then at the same time, I'll try to make them easy, right? Technicalities and then simplification, both will happen. And in the course of what I'm doing, should you find that, okay, that part he said something very technical, but I don't understand it, right? For that purpose, feel free to ask me, interrupt me in between. Nirvana, say, pre-Buddha's time, some people, they believe Nirvana as a specific location outside samsara. So where through samadhi you can take birth there, and then once you are in that place, you achieve Nirvana, right? So there's a location there. And then this is more common amongst many. And then some, for example, like Samkhya. Samkhya's version of Nirvana is, it is said that if you understand the Samkhya's version of Nirvana, then the Buddhist concept of Nirvana will become even clearer for us. It will help you. Okay, Samkhya's version of Nirvana is very interesting. Say, we the ordinary beings, at a certain point, we feel disillusioned by the samsaric enchantments, the samsaric miseries, samsaric fears. We feel disillusioned with samsara. And because of which, then you seek the help of a teacher. Then with the help of a teacher, you learn how to meditate. So this is according to Samkhya tradition, Samkhya. Then you meditate. Then because of this meditation, through your very advanced advanced level of the concentration, through advanced level of concentration, then you gain clairvoyance. Clairvoyance meaning to be able to see through subtler phenomena, to see through the minds of others. Clairvoyance. So with this clairvoyance, then you will discover one secret. The secret of the universe. The secret of the universe, according to Samkhya tradition, is that the entire universe was actually simply manifestations, or they are simply the creation of one agent known as Prakriti. One agent known as Prakrit. Prakrit is the agent which is not the same, which does not have a mind, which is not the sentient. It is the agent, it is the creator. It is the creator, very much like creator God. It is the creator, and that agent creates everything except the Atma or the self. The self or the Atma is not created by that agent. That self existed, Atma existed since beginning of time. It was not created by anyone. So other than that, it created the house, this Prakriti, it created your body, it created this flower, it creates the chocolates, then it creates the pubs, the movie halls, the shopping malls, everything. They were all created by the Prakriti. And then, because of our failure to see that, then we are being under the control of the manifestations of the Prakriti's emanations. Some are attractive, some are repulsive. They make you feel averse to them, and the attractions they pull your mind, and because of which we engage in karmas, and karmas keep you revolving in samsara. So this is the Samkhya's version. And then, because of you being disillusioned by samsara, and then having met with the teacher, and then having received the instructions on samadhi, right? And then having meditated on samadhi precisely, and then because of which you gain clairvoyance. Through this clairvoyance, you see the secret of the universe. that the entire universe besides the Atma was all created by this Prakriti. The moment you discover this fact, Prakriti, like the what it is described as same when there is a wedding, the bridegroom, the bride, the girl. The first day, the bride, the girl feels so ashamed, like that. So like that, the Prakriti will feel so ashamed, will feel so embarrassed to see that one person has discovered its secret, right? The secret of its creating all the manifestations. So because of this discovery, and the Prakriti also discovering that one person has discovered his secret, then the Prakriti will immediately pull back all the emanations, all the manifestations, right? Including your body, including the table, the house, everything, the trees, everything pull back. And what is left? Atma is left, right? Atma is left. So, okay, how many of you have problem with your bodies? Right? Okay. Say we have headache problem, stomachache problem, this problem, that problem, hunger, thirst. They are all associated with the body. You agree with me or not? When the body is withdrawn, right? When you don't have the body, there's no headache. You will never have hunger. You don't have to wait for tea break or lunch. You don't wait for that because there's no hunger, there's no thirst, and then you don't have to go to hospital. Because you never become sick. Sickness is only physical. And even with mental, right? So some they speak of the mind and the Atma as the same. And others they tease apart the two. Right? There are two versions. So no matter what, finally the Atma alone is left. So with Atma alone, right? And then all these cars honking, they all dissolve. Right? How many of you drive car, right? And when someone honks you, then it's a little unpleasant. And then the heat, temperature heat, flood, these things are problem only when you have a body. Right? Earthquake, problem only when you have a body. When you don't have a body, why should we be afraid of earthquake? So we see that it's all mainly it's because of the body that we have the problem. So the body is already withdrawn by this Prakriti. So you are left with the Atma alone. Because of which all your miseries dissolve. That is the freedom from suffering. Freedom from samsara. This is according to Samkhya tradition, Samkhya philosophy. Okay. Now the Buddhist philosophy. Buddhist philosophy, I'll speak that on two levels. One, the general presentation, and the next presentation exclusively of that of the Prasangika. Prasangika's exclusive version and the general Buddhist presentation of what Nirvana is. Okay, tell me. How many of you have meditated this earlier session on the emptiness of the self? We all meditated, right? We all meditated on the emptiness of the self. What happened? What is the process like? So we go to the atomic level, then what happens? The self disappears, right? Self disappears. Just as the Samkhyas would say that with the clairvoyance, when the Prakriti pulls back all the manifestations, the body dissolves, right? Likewise, in the meditation which we did, when we meditate on the self, on this emptiness of the self, when you reach the atomic level, what happens? The self dissolves. You agree with me or not? Okay, the self dissolves. There's some similarity there. According to Samkhya, the body dissolves, all the external things dissolve when the Prakriti pulls back all the manifestations. In Buddhism, when you go into the emptiness meditation, then even the self dissolves. Not only the body, even the self dissolves. Even the atoms also dissolve. You can go with the analysis of the atoms. You getting it? Okay. Now, this is very important. This is very important. Say, before we go further to understand what Nirvana is, what is the opposite of Nirvana? Samsara. Are you happy in samsara? No. If not, what makes you unhappy in samsara? Tell me.
Not clinging to samsara.
No. You are happy with clinging to samsara, or you are not happy with clinging to samsara?
No, I'm saying it's part of being unhappy with clinging to it.
No. What I'm saying, my question is, what facets of samsara you are unhappy about? That tell me. Suffering. Yeah, the suffering. Suffering like what? Make it more precise. Imagine that I have no exposure to any Buddhist teachings, right? Suffering of change. What is suffering of change? Right? Be very precise that everybody will understand it.
That I don't get what I want.
I don't get what I want. Dissatisfaction.
We're happy and sad.
We are happy and we are sad. Very good. Anyone else? Uncertainty. Very good. Uncertainty or what will happen, right?
Craving.
Craving, you just like craving?
Sorry?
No, what do you dislike?
I dislike because I go somewhere I get attracted. Craving.
No, you dislike your craving?
Yeah.
Or you dislike what you crave for?
I dislike the idea that I'm craving for that perfume or whatever.
Okay, so therefore you don't like perfume?
I love it. That's what I'm saying.
Which means you don't dislike, you like it. You like it and you dislike these two opposites. How can you be the,
No, I want to be free of that.
Which means it's fake.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Say, okay, you're getting it? Yeah. Oh, I like chocolates, but I dislike chocolates. This is contradictory. Right? This is contradictory. Okay. So let me say, don't shout in Choe Khor Sum Ling, right? Don't shout. I'm shouting. It's totally fake. Right? I like chocolates. And I dislike that. This is contradictory. Yeah, over there?
What I saw in India, very two people try to do also sometimes.
No, my question is, be very precise. My question is, what in samsara is that makes you unhappy?
Pain the body suffers.
Heaven.
Huh?
It is the heavenly craving which comes in the mind of many.
No, you.
Yes, including me also.
Okay, you're craving. You dislike the craving.
Yeah.
Are you sure of that?
Yeah, now it is clear.
Okay, so now you're very angry with craving.
No, not angry, but we are now craving also like suffering, which is difficult to understand.
No, my question is, what makes you feel so repulsive about samsara?
The pain we suffer.
The pain, dissatisfaction,
Insecurity.
insecurity, uncertainty,
So meeting
anger.
In hell.
meeting anything that we don't desire, right?
Okay, meeting with things which you dislike,
Which we don't desire.
which we don't desire.
And
How long?
Okay. Now, since that you already heard all these things, they are all correct. Is there anyone who can just tell me or summarize what all these people said, or you want to say one thing? Yes?
Attachment.
You dislike attachment?
No, it is the attachment.
No, I'm not asking what pulls you to samsara. This was my question. My question, what in samsara is that you dislike the most?
Unpleasant feeling.
Unpleasant feeling. For example, death.
Yeah.
Death, nobody likes death.
Everybody's scared of it.
Everybody's scared of it. Death.
And
Death, for
as you get
example.
older, you get more scared.
Exactly. Okay, now my point. Now going back to the main point. Okay, look. Death, I'm pretty sure everyone dislike it. Death. Okay, why we don't like death?
Because we don't know what's next, the unknown.
Exactly. We don't know what the next is. What the next life is, we don't know. We're uncertain of the next life. Right? Okay. Which means that next life could be good, but could be terrible as well. Right? If it is terrible, which means that you are vulnerable. You're getting it? If you are the Prime Minister of India, if you are the Prime Minister of India, you can go anywhere in India, with confidence, with security. So you have no problem. But of course, there's the terrorist threat there. Besides that, right? Unlike the ordinary people, the Prime Minister doesn't have to worry about, now where am I going to get the next car? Where am I going to get the next train station? Where should I change the car? Where should I change the train? No, he doesn't have to worry about all these things, right? So whereas when we feel that, after this, whether I'm going to get a connecting flight, whether I'm going to get a connecting train, whether I'm going to get a connecting bus, which means that it's a clear indication that you have no freedom. You're getting it? You have no freedom because you're vulnerable. Vulnerable meaning that you have no freedom. Vulnerable meaning that external conditions can create pain in you. External conditions can create pain in you. That I will not have pain. This is not in your hand. Your pain or your happiness is dependent on external conditions. You are getting it? When you are dependent on something external, you are vulnerable. This is the meaning of vulnerability. Who is better? Say someone who always cooks his own food or her own food, particularly his, I would say. Right?
Even her you can say.
In hers, most of them they cook. I know. They are very good cooks. But the same, or in some cases hers also, yeah? Okay. Say someone who has 10 servants, right? Who has 10 servants. Then you call servant A, yes sir, yes ma'am. Then they serve you tea, coffee, snacks, all these things, right? This is better, or someone who doesn't have any servant and who just cooks his or her own food every day. Which is better?
That is better. Second.
No. Be very practical too. Don't think that we are enlightened beings, right? If that is better, then those people, they are more educated. They are very educated. They should know that. They will say that, servants, you don't come, right? But they deliberately pay money that the servants are there. So which do you think is better? So we'll surely say that, I'll be so happy if I have 10 servants, 20 servants, like that. Right? In actuality, servants, are they you or someone different, external? They're external. You are paying money to make yourself vulnerable. Right? Paying money. Please be there so that I become vulnerable. Take this money. You're paying them to make yourself vulnerable. How?
Because you're dependent on it.
When one servant says, sir, tomorrow I'm sick, tomorrow I'll take leave. And another servant will say that, okay, tomorrow my child has to go to school, so therefore I have to go to school. Then all the servants disappear like this, right? And then who's going to give you food? Right? Then we see that this person cannot even make a Maggie there. He does not know even how to cook Maggie. This is actually what I've seen in my life. Once a friend of mine invited me. I'm not going to tell you the place. You cannot guess. No, I will tell you whether it's Tibetan, Indian, whatever. I have a friend. My friend invited me to his city for a lunch. So I went there on that day, planned much ahead in time. So I went there, expecting a lunch in his house. And then I was there in his house, and he was, I already said he, right? He was by himself. And it was already 10 o'clock. It was already 10 o'clock. Still no sign of preparing lunch. Or no one there. Right? And then it's already 11. Oh, he invited me for lunch at his house, and I'm in his house, and still nothing is happening. So how is he going to, make the lunch? How is he going to feed me? Then, at about 12, he said that, okay, Dorji, now we have to go to a restaurant. Then I told him, I see we are going to, we're going to have the lunch. He said, yes. Sorry, my wife went to her gown, to her village, right? So then I said, okay, our lunch is fine, but what do you do with your breakfast? What do you do with your dinner, so forth? Then sometimes I'll go to my sister's house. Sometimes I'll go to the restaurant. He does not know how to even prepare a tea, right? So this is how he becomes so vulnerable. This is what I'm saying. The more you depend on external things, the more vulnerable you are. The more vulnerable you are, you feel the uncertainty of what the next moment is like, right? So dissatisfaction. There's nothing which makes you confident. You have lost confidence. There's dissatisfaction. There's uncertainty. There's insecurity. So all these are known as samsara. This is samsara. Don't think of samsara as suffering of change, suffering of change. They're using the jargons, right? Don't start like this. Start from what we actually encounter with. Then from there we see the suffering of change will ultimately come, right? And more than suffering of change, the conditioned suffering will come into play. Okay, now with that in mind, we see that samsara is nothing but loss of freedom. You don't have the freedom to decide what your next moment is. Uncertainty means you cannot decide what your next moment is. So you have no freedom to decide your next moment, right? And then you have no freedom to decide your lunch. You have no freedom to have the lunch at your home. So that is a vulnerability. This is the dissatisfaction. This is the misery. All miseries can be boiled down to that. For example, earthquake. With earthquake, what? Anything can happen to me is uncertain. So uncertainty. So you don't have that. You don't have your next moment in your hand. You become vulnerable. That is samsara. Now what is the opposite of samsara? Nirvana means where you have the total freedom. Where you are able to retrieve all your freedom. Where you have all your freedom intact. Where you are not at all affected by external conditions. Where you are not affected by external conditions. Where you gain total freedom. That is Nirvana. Right? Okay, with that in mind, don't forget this. With that in mind, general presentation of the Nirvana according to Buddhism. General presentation of Nirvana according to Buddhism is that as you see the selflessness of person, this is a little technical, don't worry. And as I go into the Prasangika's version, then you will be able to go back in what I'm saying now. Then you will be able to place everything in the proper place. So, as you understand the selflessness of the person, say in a form of the self, say what we did earlier, the meditation on the third seal. What's the third seal?
Selflessness of persons and phenomena.
All the things are empty of empty and self.
Okay, third nature is gone. Third seal is gone somewhere. What's the first seal?
Everything in nature is emptiness and self.
No.
What's the first seal?
All composite things are impermanent.
Okay, all composite things are impermanent. What's the second seal?
All contaminated things are suffering nature.
All contaminated things are of suffering nature. Number 2, very good. What is number 3?
Everything in nature is emptiness.
Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Number 3. What is number 4? Transcending sorrow is Nirvana. Is absolute peace and Nirvana. Very good. Okay. So these these points we must have on our fingertips. So important, right? Okay. With that in mind, when you experience the third seal, what's the third seal? Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. When you know the third seal, and then you progress along the 5 paths. Gade, gade, para gade, para sanggade, bodhi swaha. When you reach the bodhi swaha, according to the Shravakas, Pratik Buddhas, right? At that point, when you achieve that, when you reach that level, then what happens is that, say, this is an extremely gross version I'm sharing with you. Extremely gross version. Say, when you meditate on the selflessness and everything is of the nature of emptiness, selflessness. When you experience this selflessness of the person itself, when you experience that, then it is as though like the self is dissolved. As though like, I'm not saying that it dissolves. As though like the self dissolves. Then you see that other factors cannot affect you. Other factors cannot affect you. So what is attachment? Oh, I like this beautiful flower. I like this chocolate. I like this clothes. I like this, that. Why do you like this? Why do you need that? Without this, I'm not full. I'm not satisfied. Right? Again, you see that you want these because you are vulnerable without them. Right? Which means that when you experience the third seal so well, when you experience the third seal, the substance so well, then all these things, like, I want this, I want that, right? I don't want that. All these will dissolve. Aversion and attachment will dissolve. You are getting it? When you experience the selflessness, then this will help you to remove your afflictions. Afflictive emotions will stop. Because of which you will not engage in an unwholesome way. Negative karmas will be stopped. Contaminated karmas will be stopped. Because of which you will not have to go through the painful experiences. Samsara is stopped. So by cutting the afflictions, by understanding the selflessness, so well, then you are able to eliminate the ignorance, self-grasping ignorance. You are able to eliminate the self-grasping ignorance. When you eliminate the self-grasping ignorance, all afflictions will stop. Afflictions will help you to stop all contaminated karmas, because of which all miseries will stop, right? So in short, general understanding of Nirvana according to the Buddhism is when the afflictions stop. Afflictions stop, then you achieve Nirvana. Afflictions stop, then you achieve Nirvana. This is the general presentation of Nirvana according to Buddhism. Okay, before I go to the unique presentation of Prasangika's Nirvana according to Prasangika, let me see how much you have understood of the general presentation of Nirvana according to Buddhism. Okay, when does one achieve Nirvana according to the general presentation of Buddhism? When does one achieve Nirvana? At what point? When the afflictions come to an end, right? When there's the cessation of the afflictions. A cessation of the afflictions is that of the four truths, of the Four Noble Truths, which of the four truths does it fall into? Cessation of afflictions.
That's truth of suffering.
Number 2. Number 3. What is number 1? Truth of suffering. What is number 2? Causes of suffering. Right? Don't say that freedom from afflictions is the cause of suffering. Right? Okay. What is number 3? Cessation of suffering. Okay. So the cessation of afflictions fall under truth number 3. Right? Okay. So this is according to... and now tell me, why when you eliminate afflictions, why are you referred to as have achieved nirvana? Why?
Because you will not have uncontrolled greed.
Because
You're no longer vulnerable.
you are no longer vulnerable to the miseries. Because you have already stopped accumulating negative karmas, or you have already stopped accumulating contaminated karmas, without which you will not have suffering anymore. You are getting it? Freedom from suffering. And what is the suffering? We said dissatisfaction, uncertainty, insecurity, and so forth. Okay. This is according to the general presentation, meaning that all Buddhist schools of thought, they accept nirvana in that sense. And Prasangika has a unique presentation, which is so important. Prasangika's unique presentation is so important. Right? And in fact, this understanding will come to you, closer understanding of this will come to you if you understand emptiness more closely. The more closely you understand emptiness, more closely you will be convinced of this understanding of the unique presentation nirvana according to Prasangika. You getting it? Okay, with that in mind, let me begin. Okay. We said that opposite of nirvana is samsara, and samsara is nothing but the dissatisfaction, feeling of uncertainty, feeling of insecurity, and so forth. You agree with me? Okay, right? Now, you have a question?
We get the feeling, it's like we hate someone, we understand that I'm angry, I'm shouting at other people. I have a craving, I can understand that also. I crave for something very strong, maybe money or some attachment. But then you get nirvana, somehow feels that wisdom needs to get that, then only it will be like a nirvana, remove attachment and all that. So exact way of going to that wisdom, it's more based on right eightfold path. But still, eightfold path which is already shown by Buddha, sometimes getting wisdom becomes not straightforward. Though some people say it is very easy for common man also, even Buddha said it is very easy in the sense if you follow on eightfold path can get nirvana. But very difficult to see in a country like India, person with nirvana even today. So still surprised.
Okay, so this is a good point. So for you are actually touching all the very important points all together, right? So let's see. Let's take the steps. And then we have just 7 days, right? Total, 7 days. And already 1 day is gone. And second day is half gone, right? Now we have 5.5 days more. So by the fifth day, what you said should be, answer to what you said should be with all of us, right? So at the moment we are building that answer. We're building the answer, right? Okay, first let's see. What was I saying? A unique presentation of Nirvana according to Prasangika. Unique presentation of Nirvana according to Prasangika. This is so what? Important. Right? Okay. This is so important. Okay. Let's say a sense of insecurity. We don't want to live in the sense of insecurity, with the sense of insecurity. We don't want to live in uncertainty. We don't want to live in dissatisfaction. You agree with me? Good. All these three, whether dissatisfaction, uncertainty, insecurity, they all have the connotation, that you are vulnerable to some other factors. You agree with me or not? When you are not vulnerable, when you are so confident, confidence and insecurity, these two are the opposites. You agree with me or not? When you feel insecure, when you feel uncertain, when there's uncertainty there, you are not confident. You have lost your confidence. Okay. So uncertainty, insecurity, dissatisfaction, they all have the connotation that we are vulnerable. Vulnerable meaning that anytime someone can push me or someone can pull me. You're getting it? Whereas you are very strong, no one can pull and push, you are very confident. You go to anyone and someone shows anger to you, you say, who are you? Who the hell you are? And a person starts fighting with you, try to push you, cannot push you. So you're so confident. Whereas somebody pushes you and then you feel hurt, that is when you feel vulnerable, being vulnerable. You agree with me? Vulnerability, insecurity, uncertainty, dissatisfaction, they are all different versions of the same meaning of samsara. You're getting it? Now with that in mind, all these vulnerabilities, say, oh, if I don't have enough money, then how can I survive when I become sick? Right? Or if I'm not healthy, if I don't have health insurance, then what will happen if I become sick? Then if I don't have a proper job, then what will happen if I have this, that, this? Okay. So here we see that say because of your health issues, you want money. Because of your health issues, you have to go away from hazardous or the unhealthy environment, right? Unhealthy physical, unhealthy environment for health issues, for health matters. And for that purpose, for future security of the health, you have to crave for money. You're getting it? Right? So we see that something, say, imagine, this is so important. Imagine someone comes, suddenly enters into your house, and then grab you from your front, and then push like this, pull you like this, push, pull. Are you happy? Why are you not happy?
Because if you have osteoporosis, your bones will break.
Why are you not happy? Because whether you go here, there, it is not in your hand. The person is you are being involuntarily being pulled and pushed by the person, right? Whether you are next to the wall, banging against the wall, or sitting properly, that is all in the hands of that strong person. You're getting it? You don't have the freedom. You have lost your freedom. This is so important. I'm giving such a simple example. You getting it?
The other person is in control.
Exactly. It is not in your hand. It is in someone else's hand. You are getting it? Okay, you have lost your freedom. You agree with me or not? When somebody, grabs at you from your front and then push like this, then you have lost your freedom. You agree with me or not? Okay. Now, how many of you are so fond of chocolates? Okay, most of us, right? Okay. So who's worse? The person who is pulling, pushing, or the chocolate? This person is worse. This chocolate, I like it. I am going there. This person is pulling me, pushing me, is bullying me. And this chocolate, I like it. I am going there. No, it's not true. These two are exactly the same. This person who is pushing and pulling and the chocolate, these two exactly, both are bullying us. Say you go to shopping mall, right? And then say you are looking for some branded piece of cloth, one cloth, and you see that, and you ask for the price. It's very expensive. And then, right, and then your friend or your mother or father says that, okay, now it's time up, we have to go, right? You go there, and still that is pulling you, right? Again, you have to turn back to look at it, right? That is pulling you. You agree with me or not? You agree with me or not? Okay, look. And so, what are you doing? Right? Then you say that, oh, I'm just looking at it. No, actually, that is pulling you, right? You don't have time. You are missing your train. But then this is pulling you. And finally you miss your train. Because, you are being bullied by this. I'm not joking. This is so important. This is so important. So the object which pulls you and which pushes you is not that, you have a choice. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You may say, oh, I have a choice. No. Some people, they have to die fighting for, things. Fighting for place, fighting for this, fighting for that, and so forth. People die. So this means that they are engaging in this act, attachment, anger, whatever. That is all because you are being pulled and pushed involuntarily by that object, and you have lost your freedom. You're getting it? Okay. Now let me take you closer. Okay, you know where I stopped now? You know where I stopped? Don't just say pulling and pushing. Make it very precise.
Object, and there is no control.
Involuntarily, you are being pulled and pushed by something else. This is the meaning of the loss of freedom, and this is samsara. This is misery. Don't say samsara first. Say this is misery. This is dissatisfaction. Right? This involuntary pull and push underscores all our miseries. You name any misery, right? You see that that is underscored by the involuntary pull and push of the object. That is misery. If you understand this, then we can go deeper into Prasangika's unique version, which I'm going to continue afternoon. Okay, lunch break.